Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Evening Devotion. So if you hear a droning noise, it may even almost sound like rain. That's the fan. We're sitting outside. Me and my wife did a bunch of work. And you hear chickens and stuff like that, goats and that's the neighbors over here right next to us. We did a bunch of work. We got hot, so we're sitting in front of the fan, and then we had to fire the grill up because we're going to cook for tonight. So we're killing 3 birds with 1 stone. So while we're sitting here, it'd be a great time to go ahead and film. And so tonight we're going to be reading out of Genesis 1:4, and God divided the light from the darkness. The whole verse says, and God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. So this is creation. This is the creation week. So let's read this in its context. The creation of the world, verse 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth, so that was the very beginning of all things, the heavens and the earth. Notice heavens is plural, there's multiple heavens. The earth was without form and void, and darkness was on the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. So the evening and the morning were the first day. Notice the sun hasn't been created yet. The sun and the moon haven't been created yet. Notice that. But yet day and night have been created. It's an interesting order that these fall in. And then God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Thus God made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament. And it was so. And do some digging into here, you find out that this is talking about the atmospheres and stuff like that. And God called the firmament heaven. So the evening and the morning were the second day. So if you go into on the earth technically can be considered one heaven because it was Eden before. You go up into the sky, there's another heaven, and then you go up to where the Lord is, and that's the throne room, that's the third heaven. So there's multiple heavens here, but the way it's described and the order it's described is very interesting. Then God said, let the waters under the heavens be gathered together. Notice it's heavens, be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear. And it was so. That would be the oceans. God called the dry land earth. The gathering together of the waters he called seas, and God saw that it was good. Very interesting here. He still hasn't created a sun and a moon, and yet all this stuff is happening. Like even verse 11, he's already creating the grass and the trees and stuff. Very interesting the way that's done. If you take the time to really sit down and think about it and dig through that and look at the details and how that's worded and see the order of how things were created, it's very interesting because it goes to show you that it is actually God that did it, and it was God that was illuminating it, not creation, not evolution, the way they keep saying it. It's creation because he created all those other things first and then created the sun and the moon. So up to the point we stopped, the earth was sitting out in space with no sun and no moon, and yet it had trees, it had grass, it had all this stuff on it. Very interesting. We're going to focus on God divided the light from the darkness for our devotion. A believer has 2 principles at work within him. In his natural state, he was subject to one principle only, which was darkness. We were all sons of darkness when we were born. Now light has entered, and the 2 principles disagree. Mark the Apostle Paul's words in the 7th chapter of Romans. I find then a law that, when I would do good, evil is present with me. For I delight in the law of God, after the inward man. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members. How is this state of things occasioned? Because Paul says something that kind of doesn't make sense. When you stop and think about it, it kind of does. The Lord divided the light from the darkness. Darkness by itself is quiet and undisturbed. But when the Lord sends in light, there is a conflict, for the one is in opposition to the other. A conflict which will never cease till the believer is altogether light in the Lord. That would be the day of redemption. And keep in mind that, remember I said before, that you notice that the darkness, like say it's nighttime, the darkness doesn't leave to make room for the light. The darkness is driven out by the light. Because when the light comes, the darkness, you see shadows behind trees and that, shadows behind buildings. The darkness is hiding behind stuff. The light drives it away. And then when it goes to get dark again, the darkness can't come in until the light is gone, because the darkness is still hiding behind those same things from the other side as the light is leaving. A lot of people don't notice this. Once you do, you're like, I never realized that before. Yeah. If there be a division within the individual Christian, there is certain to be a division without. So soon as the Lord gives to any man light, he proceeds to separate himself from the darkness around. He secedes from a merely worldly religion of outward ceremonial, for nothing short of the gospel of Christ will now satisfy him. And he withdraws himself from worldly society and frivolous amusements, and seeks the company of the saints. For we know we have passed from death into life, because we love the brethren. The light gathers to itself, and the darkness to itself. What God has divided, let us never try to unite. And this is what a great many people today are trying to do. You can't have the world and have Christ at the same time. But as Christ went without the camp, bearing his reproach, so let us come out from the ungodly and be a peculiar people. We talked about this multiple times over the last few months. He was holy, harmless, undefiled, separate from sinners. And as he was, so we are to be nonconformists to the world, dissenting from all sin, and distinguished from the rest of mankind by our likeness to our Master. Now, what would that look like in the individual believer? Well, first of all, you're not going hanging out at the bar with everybody. You're not going and partying with the girls. You're not getting involved in stuff that could be construed as sin. You're not going out and having premarital sex. You're restraining yourself from those things. You're not eating and drinking and stuff to excess, to the point that it's way overboard. And your natural inclination isn't going to be to go back into the world and do those things, because you want more of the Lord and you want to learn more, so you gravitate to the things that are of Him. And so we push away from the world and push the world away and move towards those things that pertain to God. You want to know more about Him? Read the Bible. Gravitate towards other believers. I can talk to anybody. I've always been able to talk to anybody. Like, we've known each other. But I can't do that near as well as when I do it with another believer. Because when I'm running with another believer, it's like we've been friends forever. It's like we've known each other all our lives. It's weird. But it's not weird, because it's Holy Spirit. We're connected in that way. So when a lot of people talk about, well, I don't believe that there's going to be anything that's going to be different, that's going to show your preaching works, because you're saying that this should be different, that should be different. Well, no, I'm not saying that the Bible is. But there should be an outward expression of what's happening within you. And because you're taking the darkness, which is of the world, your normal carnal things, and they're being drugged down and suppressed in lieu of the things of God and the things of light. That would be the godliness and the holiness that you would exhibit from the Holy Spirit dwelling within you. But a lot of people don't understand that. They think it's going to be expressed in tongues and gifts and all this other stuff, not understanding that it's supposed to be expressed in a life lived for God. That's the expression of the salvation, is the life you live. Your speech will change. Your thoughts will change. Everything about you is going to change. You can't help it. Because to be godly and to be attached to Him, you can't help but change, because the darkness is being driven out. We're being sanctified, changed, and prepared for heaven, becoming a new creation. And so if you don't like the doctrine that I preach here about evidence of salvation, and that upsets you, okay, well, what has changed in your life and what hasn't since you've become a Christian? Do you still do all the exact same things you did before you got saved? Do you still live the exact same life? Do you still have the exact same activities? Has nothing at all changed? I challenge you to look a little closer into the Bible, because every single person changed that was saved in the Bible. Drastically changed. And they stood out among all people. So if you don't have any of that stuff revealing itself, if you're not seeing that there's something going on, and you're not hanging out with the same people, you're not doing the same things and all that stuff, there's salvation there. You're being changed. But if the life that you're living now is exactly the same as the life you were living before, there's a problem. There's a big problem. And I highly, highly recommend you deal with it if you're one of those people. Instead of getting mad at me because I'm saying something you don't like, go investigate. See what I'm telling you, whether it's true or not. Because I think what you'll discover in the scriptures is that there should be some kind of lifestyle change that follows salvation. If there isn't, I beg you to reconsider that. God is dividing the light from the darkness. He did it at the beginning. He's doing it now in each and every one of us. But if you can't see a dividing of the light and the darkness, where's the change? Where's the new creation? Where's the salvation? It's not there. So it's really important for all of us to address this, all of us to pay attention, all of us to look at this. If you can't bring yourself to do that, I don't know what to tell you, because all I can do is share with you what the scriptures say. I can't share with you. I can tell you how to do it. I can't make you do it. You've got to make that decision. You've got to make that move. You've got to go that direction. If you can't do it, that's on you. But for the rest of you who have, you understand what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm referring to. You know where this is leading. You know where this is going. And you know where you're being led to. So guys, consider what I'm saying here. Look at the scriptures and see what they're telling you. Let it reveal to you what I'm telling you. Let it confirm to you what I'm telling you. And then look at your own life and examine yourselves and see if those things are manifesting. If they're not, change it. It's easy. One step. If they are, you're right where you should be. I love you guys. I'll see you all in the next video.